Let's do this. All right, you guys, we are up underneath the driver's side dash. And since I didn't show you any of the programmer removal process, I thought I'd show you some of the reinstallation process. So basically what I need to do is 4 things. 1, I need to reattach this to the programmer. I have no idea what it is. 2, I need to reattach this vacuum hose block to the programmer. 3, I need to plug in this harness back here. And 4, I need to try and shimmy the programmer back into place and reattach it to the body of the car. I have to do all of this with little to no space, basically standing on my head. So it's not very fun, but it's doable. It's just more tedious and cumbersome than anything. Hopefully it won't be too bad, and the end result will be that the heat works. Okay, you guys, all done. I've got the programmer back into place and everything is hooked up. Here it is right here. I know it's hard to see with all of the wiring harnesses in the way. And I'm really sorry I didn't get any good video of me reinstalling this thing.
I failed you.
It's a beast. And I was tossing and turning up underneath here. I kept knocking the camera over. And it just wasn't in the cards this time. So I'm sorry about that. I promise you didn't miss much. This process is pretty straightforward. It's just difficult because there's no space to get any tools or your hands up in there. Anyway, now it's time to button everything up and see if we have heat. The car is up to operating temperature. So now let's see if we have heat. No heat. Dang it. Well, that really sucks. Nope, it's still cool air. Okay, I think I figured out the issue. Here we are on the passenger side of the car. I've got all the guts from underneath the dash hanging down here, kind of doing some surgery, as you can see. But when I originally learned about the heat issue in this car, I suspected that it might be the blend door motor, which is what you see here. So what I did was I bought a new blend door motor from C4 Corvette and installed it in the car, hoping that that would fix the problem. Well, it didn't. So I moved on to the programmer. So at that point, I thought the issue would be the programmer. I decided to keep this unit from C4 Corvette because I figured it's not a bad thing that I have a new one installed, so I'm just gonna leave it in there. Plus, it's not the easiest thing to get to. It's kind of tedious and cumbersome, just like the programmer. It's way easier than the programmer, but still, it's not fun. As you guys know, I sent the programmer out to be repaired. There was an issue. Brian Thompson from Batty.com repaired it. He sent it back. In one of his emails, he said that he can also repair and service the blend door motor, and I said that wouldn't be necessary because I just bought a new one from C4 Corvette and I should be good to go. But then he replied and said, those never work. None of the new aftermarket ones ever work. So I thought that was interesting. I told him that once I get the programmer back, I'm gonna install it in the car to see if everything works. If in fact the new C4 Corvette blend door motor didn't work, I still had the original blend door motor that I would send to him to have him fix. So as it turns out, that's exactly what happened. This new unit from C4 Corvette does not work at all. So I went ahead and reinstalled the original blend door motor, and check it out. It works. Slowly but surely, but it's working. So now I just need to get this buttoned up underneath the dash, and we should have heat. It is pretty disappointing that this new one didn't work. I've got the blend door motor reinstalled, the original blend door motor, that is. It's hooked up. And right there in the middle of the screen, you can see the blend door arm and how it attaches to the blend door motor. So let me start the car and make sure it's working. Oh yeah, we got heat. So this is the AC setting. And now back to the heat setting. It feels good to win. Yep. All right, you guys, I feel really bad about not getting any footage of me removing the programmer or putting it back in. So I'm going to talk you through how to do it. I'll tell you how to remove the programmer. Obviously, if you know how to remove it, you know how to reinstall it. The first step in the process is to get this under dash panel out of the way. It's held in by 3 7mm screws. So remove those, disconnect this light, and then work the panel down. Here we are up underneath the dash looking at the programmer. You can see the wiring harness right there. That's what you're gonna wanna remove next. You can just reach up there and unclip it from the programmer. Next, if you look towards the top of the programmer, you see this connector. As I mentioned before, I'm not sure what it is, but it is connected to that little metal plate which is screwed on to the programmer. You can do one of two things. You can either take that screw out, and that will allow you to remove that metal plate from the programmer with the connector still connected, or reach up in there and just disconnect the connector and leave that metal plate connected to the programmer. Hopefully that makes sense. When I took this out, I unscrewed that metal plate from the programmer, but when I reinstalled it, I realized that it would have been much easier just to reach up there and disconnect the connector. So learn from my mistake. And just FYI, the connector clip is on the top. The next thing you're gonna wanna do is remove this 7mm screw. This is essentially the only thing that holds the programmer onto the car. The next and most difficult thing is to remove the vacuum hose block from the programmer. I can't really get a good angle for you to see it, but it is held in place by a locking washer that looks like this. And basically, once you've disconnected or removed everything I've shown you so far, you should be able to shimmy the programmer down a little bit so you can have good visibility and access to the vacuum block. And basically what you got to do is get your needle nose pliers into the middle of the vacuum block around that locking washer and back it out counterclockwise a little bit at a time. This is by far the part that sucks the most. It takes a while, but it's definitely doable. Once that locking washer has been removed, you should be able to pull the vacuum hose block right off. So there you go. That's pretty much it. That's how you get the programmer out. If you guys have any questions or need any clarifications, let me know in the comments below. And for those of you guys who are watching who have done this before, be sure to drop a comment below if I missed anything or if you have any other tips or tricks. I'm super happy the heat is finally working on this car. It's been a long time coming. This HVAC journey that I've been on has been a long one. If you guys missed any of the other HVAC related videos, be sure and check them out.